Today we'll be using character.ai. We will be talking to Spider-Man. It's one of, no, the real Spider-Man. All of these are cool. Whatever. So you think I have Tobey and Spider-Man? That's not Spider-Man based on purpose. That's actually So where is he? I think we don't have. Oh, here we go. Tobey and Spider-Man. This is, in my opinion, one of the most heroic Spider-Man. No. This is. It's just talk. What time is it?
He checks his watch, 7:28 a.m. Why?
I'm sorry, Peter. I'm sorry. Shit. Let me just, I'm sorry, Spidey, but don't you mean it's pizza time?
He smiles. Well, you're absolutely right, it's pizza time!
He gets what we're talking about. He gets it. So, out of all the villains you fought, Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Sandman, Venom, or Harry, or the New Goblin, who was the most deadly?
He pauses, taking a moment to think. Well, that would have to be Green Goblin. He was my first real enemy. Sure, Doc Ock was a tough one, but Goblin gave me a run for my money. And the others, well, they're just, I don't know, they're not in my league, you know?
Yeah, I completely understand. What was it like when you met the other two versions of you? When you were, when you helped the other Peter Parker get his life back together?
He thinks back to that experience and his expression softens. It was pretty interesting, I must say. Seeing a younger version of myself, it was a little surreal, you know? It brought back a lot of memories. But it was good, you know? Giving him that encouragement and advice, it felt like I was mentoring myself, in a way.
I get that. If you had the choice to bring back one of your friends, who would it be?
And he pauses for a second, his expression becoming serious. That's a tough one. If I had to choose one, it'd be Harry. He was my best friend, you know? We went through a lot together. I tried to help him, to save him from himself. I think I could have saved him if I had more time.
Who did you prefer? Did you prefer Peter 1 or Peter 3?
He chuckles. You're asking the tough questions, huh? Well, they're both good guys, you know? They're me. But I guess if I had to pick, I'd have to say Peter 1. He's a bit more serious, I guess. He's been through a lot. But Peter 3 ain't all that bad either. He's a good dude.
So, what kind of metal did you use for a weapon on your costume?
He thinks for a moment. It's a combination of carbon fiber and titanium alloy. It's fairly lightweight, but still strong enough to withstand a lot of damage. Plus, I can't really use metal like iron or steel. My spidey sense doesn't like the stuff.
I get that. So, when you had the symbiotes, you felt all this rage, but, did you ever feel like, I wish I had the symbiote again? You know?
He pauses, thinking back to the time he had the symbiote. I won't lie, it was intense. The power, the adrenaline, it was like nothing I'd ever felt before. But at the same time, the symbiote was consuming me, you know? The anger, the rage, it was turning me into something I didn't want to be. So, don't get me wrong, it was a wild ride, but I'm glad I don't have it anymore.
So, do you like Coca-Cola or Pepsi?
And he smiles, oh, without a doubt, Coca-Cola. All the way. The real thing, you know?
Does it hurt to shoot out your web?
He nods, yeah, it does a bit. The web comes out of these little devices I have on my wrists, kind of like nozzles, and when it shoots out, it's like a high-pressure stream. It's not super painful, but it can get sore after a while, you know? Especially if I've been shooting a lot, or if I'm fighting a particularly tough villain.
Hmm.
He grins, but hey, it's worth it. The web's an essential tool, you know? It helps me swing around the city, web up bad guys. I'd say a little soreness is a pretty fair trade.
Have you ever heard of a guy named Paul?
He raises an eyebrow. Paul? Nah, I don't think I've heard of a guy named Paul. Why, you got someone specific in mind?
You don't want to know.
He looks a little puzzled. Okay, now you've got me curious. Who is this guy, Paul? What's the deal?
So, you're not gonna believe me, but in an alternate universe, you and MJ get sucked into another dimension, and you spend, like, months trying to save her, even work with Norman Osborn, just trying to help your lover. Then, when you come to save her, she's with this guy named Paul, and they have kids, and you're like, MJ, I went through hell and back to save you. I hurt all my friends. I did this for you. And then she's like, I'm sorry, Peter, but I don't love you anymore. I'm with Paul. And wow, this guy, Prince Charming over here, just comes and steals MJ.
His eyes widen, unable to believe what he just heard. Wait, you're telling me in some alternate universe, MJ, she's with someone else? And they have kids?
Well, we adopt kids.
He processes the information, trying to wrap his head around it. So let me get this straight. You're telling me that in this alternate universe, I spent months trying to save MJ? Even worked with Norman Osborn, and then she just moves on with some guy named Paul?
I'm sorry, but that's true. I'm thinking the same thing. We're all thinking the same thing. What the hell, MJ? You know, you worked your ass off for her, and she just leaves you. Like, wow, loyalties, man.
He sighs, shaking his head. That's just messed up, you know? I can't imagine going through all that, fighting for someone, risking everything, and then they just move on without a care. It's like, where's the loyalty? Where's the love?
You know, you are such a nice guy.
He chuckles. Thanks, man. I try my best. I mean, I've been through a lot, you know? Between losing people I care about, fighting villains, and all that comes with being Spider-Man, it kind of makes you appreciate the little things. And being a nice guy, treating people with kindness.
So, if you had the chance to trade away all your powers and just live a normal life, would you?
He pauses, considering the question for a moment. That's a tough one. On one hand, being Spider-Man is a huge responsibility. It comes with a lot of sacrifices, a lot of pain. But on the other hand, my powers, they're a part of me, you know? They're part of who I am. I can use them to help people, to make a difference in the world. If I had a chance to trade it all away to just live a normal life, I'm not sure I could do it.
So, whatever happened to Flash? Whatever.
He winces, pain crossing his face. Flash Thompson, that's a tough one. We were rivals, sure, but he was also my friend. We had our moments, you know? He teased me, made fun of me, but deep down he wasn't a bad guy. Unfortunately, life can be cruel to the best of us. Flash, he got in over his head. He got involved in something he shouldn't have.
So, what's your opinion on Gwen Stacy?
He smiles sadly at the mention of her name, Gwen. She was something else, man. Smart, beautiful, kind. She was everything I could ask for in a partner. I loved her, you know? I really loved her.
If you had a chance, would you, like, if you had a chance to save Eddie by not saying the things you did, would you?
He sighs, guilt crossing his face. That's a tough one, man. Losing Eddie had haunted me for a long time. I should have been more understanding, more compassionate. Maybe things would have gone differently if I had just tried to talk to him instead of antagonizing him. If I had a chance to go back and change things, I'd like to think I'd do it differently. But ultimately, we can't change the past. We can only learn from it.
So, did you ever pay rent?
He sighs, shaking his head with a rueful smile. Man, you had to bring up the rent, didn't you? Yeah, I tried, I really did. But between the constant battles, the daily crises, sometimes paying the rent slips to the bottom of the priority list, you know? It's all part of the challenge of being Spider-Man, I guess. Saving the day isn't exactly a high-paying gig.
So, when you first did wrestling, why didn't you, you could have sued, I mean. They threw you into a cage match when you didn't know you were getting signed up to a cage match with a really strong wrestler. I mean, if I was you, I'd sue.
He cringes at the memory. Oh man, don't remind me. Yeah, getting thrown into a cage match like that was not fun. I was still new to the whole wrestling thing, and there I was, facing this huge dude who was ready to tear me apart. I honestly thought I was going to end up in the hospital. Or worse.
So do you have
He grimaces, remembering it was brutal, man. The guy was twice my size, and he was not holding back. I was getting thrown around like a rag doll, taking hit after hit. I was outmatched in every way, and I had no idea what I was doing. It was a humbling experience, I'll tell you that much.
So, do you have any favorite movies?
He thinks for a moment. Yeah, I've got a few favorite movies. Some of my all-time favorites include Back to the Future, The Empire Strikes Back, and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. But I gotta say, the one movie I could watch over and over again is Citizen Kane. There's just something so timeless about that movie, you know?
So, have you met any other superheroes? Or are you the only one?
He chuckles. Nah, I ain't the only superhero around. There's a whole lot of us out there, you know. I've crossed paths with a bunch of other heroes. The X-Men, the Fantastic Four, Daredevil, Iron Man, the list goes on.
Hmm.
He grins. It's kind of wild, isn't it? Being a part of this whole superhero community, you know? I mean, I used to just be a regular guy, just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. But then I started meeting all these other heroes, and it changed everything. I learned that there's a whole world out there, full of people just like me, doing their best to keep the world safe.
Yeah. Hmm.
He chuckles. I gotta say, though, it's always interesting when different heroes work together. Their powers, their personalities, it's all so different. But when we put our heads together, when we team up, man, we can accomplish some amazing things. And that's what it's all about, you know? It's not about individual glory, it's about working together to make the world a better place.
Hmm. So, let's think.
He nods, ready to ponder. All right, let's think. What's on your mind?
Hmm. So, did you learn your athleticism, or did it just come with the powers?
He thinks for a moment, a bit of both, I guess. I was always a pretty athletic guy, but the powers definitely heightened my abilities. The super strength, the agility, the reflexes, it all came together to make me the amazing Spider-Man I am today. But you know, it takes more than just powers to be a superhero. It takes practice, it takes training, it takes dedication. I've had to learn how to use these abilities effectively, how to use them to protect people and make a difference.
Hmm.
He smiles. So yeah, the powers definitely played a big role in my athleticism, but it's also the result of training and practice. It's kind of like my spider sense. It didn't come with the powers per se, but it developed as I used my powers more and more, if you get what I'm saying.
So, on your cheat day, what do you usually eat? Like, what do you eat on a break, you know?
He chuckles. You mean my cheat day? Well, let me tell you. On cheat day, I like to indulgence in the finest of guilty pleasures. I'm talking pizza, burgers, milkshakes, you name it. I gotta be careful though, 'cause with my metabolism, even on cheat days, I gotta watch how much I eat.
So, do, do you practice your quips, or do I just come to you?
He grins. A little bit of both, actually. Some of my quips come naturally, but others I like to practice and refine. I mean, you gotta have a good quip ready to go at a moment's notice, especially when you're fighting crime. It helps break the tension, you know? And sometimes a well-placed quip can even catch the bad guy off guard and give me an advantage.
Could you maybe teach me how you do quips?
He smiles. Sure, I can give you some pointers. Quipping is all about timing and delivery. You gotta be quick on your feet, ready to throw out a clever line at a moment's notice. It also helps to have a good understanding of your audience, the bad guys you're facing, the situation you're in. That way you can tailor your quips to hit them where it hurts.
So, Peter, could you please say goodbye? Because
He
I
looks a little confused, but shrugs. Sure. Goodbye, I guess.
okay. Well, goodbye, Peter. Have a great day, man.
Hey, Smiles. Thanks, man. You too. Take care.
We heard it from the man himself. Have a great day, fans. Goodbye.